Hi there, I'm so thrilled to finally share with you my brand new crafty space. This has taken about a year in the making. I was previously downstairs in the basement and I've moved to the second floor in a spare bedroom of our home. So this is a 9x10 room. It's not that big, but it is something I can call my own. This space also functions as my YouTube filming studio. So I'm going to show you how I set up my gear for that and the lighting that I use. So I do hope that you find some inspiration to help you organize your crafty space. Come upstairs with me and let's take a look at my brand new crafty space. Now this is a spare bedroom in my home, and you know what's the best thing? This door. My previous studio down in the basement was in an open concept, so not having a door like this was really hard to film anything. So this door here is an awesome upgrade. Let's start right here. I'm going to give you a slow pan of this room, and then we're going to dive in and check out all of the great stuff. So as I mentioned, this is a 10x9 room, and it's a room with a door. So that is really great. See the door? It's closed because there's stuff going on in the house all the time. On the left side of my room, this is what I call my supply center. And all of this is built from IKEA furniture. I have 2 Billy bookcases, and I highly recommend getting bookcases because you can move the shelves. In the center here is a Kallax unit, and it is a small Kallax unit. I could have gone bigger, but you know what? That's what I had. So these storage boxes are from IKEA, and I will list as much as I can down in the description box below. I used my Cricut to make all of the labels, and I really like this storage solution. It works really well for me. Down here, those are old cropper hoppers. You can still find them on Amazon. They're not cheap, but again, I was able to separate out all of my papers. This here is an homage to my brother and my sister. My brother was a Batman collector, so I inherited this one here, which reminds me of him. And my sister loved cats and plants, and those were the last flowers that I got from her. So they are in here with me, and they help me craft along. In the Kallax unit, I didn't change anything from the tour that I did of my previous studio. So if you want to see that, I will also link that down below. Everything that I use downstairs actually still works upstairs. So that is a nice thing. You will notice here that this is where I keep all of my cardstock, and my cardstock has been combine with both Close to My Heart and Stampin' Up, because I've now moved to Stampin' Up, and I really like this system. Now these sleeves here were from Close to My Heart, but you can find similar things on Amazon, I'm sure. I do love the sturdiness, and it really does help keep my cardstock nice and clean and organized. Up here at the top, these are small 6x8 albums, and this is where I store all of my dies. Well, most of my dies. And these envelopes here, again, are no longer available. They are great because when I go to a crop, I can just take whichever little album I need. Everything tucks nice away neatly on top of my shelf. On this side here, I have more of those great containers from IKEA. I have the cropper hoppers with all of my papers. Down here's where I keep my watercolor paper, my different types of papers if you want. Last year, I shared how I keep my retired ink pads and my retired re-inkers. Let me show you this quickly. In here are all of the ink pads that I have that I retired, and I've only kept the ones that I have the re-inkers for. And they've been standing up like this for over a year, and I have had no problems with them. They don't leak at all. And this is a good way to keep some of your older colors and just keep them tucked away, and you can easily see them when they're stacked upright. In my Kallax unit, I still have these freezer bins that I purchase, and I keep various things in here, twine and some bling, some wood shapes. It's still working quite well for me, and it was a bit of an investment, so I'm glad that this is still working. So in this bin right here is a space that's dedicated for projects, so I could neatly tuck them away when I'm done with them. And this one here is my messy bin. This is where I put all of the mess, and then I take some time and I clean it out, but we all need a little drop zone, and this is mine for projects. I've been working on a baby album, as you can see. In the drawers, I have my ribbon, and the dividers here are just made out of cardstock. Nothing fancy, nothing too expensive, but I have 2 full drawers, and I'm trying to stay within those 2 drawers. If I have to buy new ones, then I would have to revisit what's in here and kind of purge out what I'm not using. In this one here is all of my watercolor stuff, my acrylic paints, and again, I try and keep it contained in one drawer. In this drawer here is where I place all of my photo mats, or the placeholder mats if you want. They are separated, and I do like them. I'm actually running out of them, so I'm probably going to be able to repurpose this drawer for something else. In here, I have all of my sprays and my little brushes, all of things like that. And in this drawer, this is where I keep all of my lunar paste. Now, these are little trays. They are for spice racks, and I find that they work really, really nicely for these types here. I have to get a new one because I've acquired more paste over this year, but I'm again trying to stay true to one little drawer. My new stamp set live here in this CD tower, and this was an old IKEA item. You can no longer purchase it. You could probably find it on Marketplace or something like that, but this is where I'm keeping all of my Stampin' Up stamps and my paper pumpkin little boxes here. I do have some room to grow, but not that much. You'll see that I've tucked in the corner here some of my filming gear, and we'll talk about that in a moment. That is for my stand-up and standalone filming gear. I don't use that anymore when I do my process videos. Right in back of me is what I like to call my functional storage. Now you have 2 of these cabinets here. I think they're called Brimnes, again from IKEA. And these ones here are the tall Alex drawers. I'm going to start back here. The reason why I chose these cabinets is because, as you can see, you can put your iris containers in there, and those have been labeled as well. So that's where I keep my December daily project, my Christmas cards, a wedding album that I'm still working on, my baby album, a vacation album, and you know, right at the bottom, I'm still looking at it and it's not done yet, are my 2 Disney albums that I'm supposed to work on. At the very bottom here, I keep all of my 8.5 by 11 cardstock. I have various things. Right at the top, and I'm not sure if you can see that, that's where I keep all of my cutting tools. So they fit nice and neat in that top shelf. And those shelves, because they're adjustable, I was really able to customize how I was going to use this cabinet. Before I move on to the next one, This is what I mean by functional storage. I'm one of those people that, well, why not, right? Look outside while you're crafting, and I like to get up and move around, not always sit down. So this is where I keep my main paper trimmer. And again, as I mentioned to you, all of the other ones are in here, right down below. And I have my white, black, vanilla cardstock. I have 8.5 by 11. And these are all in little organizers, and I'll get back to that in a minute. This is where I like to stand up and do most of my cutting, just to move away from my table once in a while. Now, if I go over to this area here, this is my new setup for all of my current ink pads that I have. And I have the stamp scrubber and the cleaner, and it fits right here, and I really do like it. I know a lot of people use the stamp chamois, but if you have room for this in your little crafty space, I really, really like it. Now, before we go in these drawers right here, let's take a look at this cabinet here. Now, again, this cabinet doubles up as an area for me to do my embossing. I pull my embossing machine, I have my embossing plates in these are desktop organizers, and if you're in a small space, they are awesome. I've picked this one up at the dollar store, and I can keep all of my plates up here and tuck it away. Let's take a look inside here. Now, inside here, you can see that the configuration is much different. I have all of my distress oxides here at the top. I have my close to my heart collection of stamps here, and all of my embossing folders. And then these here are just storage container for various things. But I really do love these cabinets. You would be surprised as to how much you can actually fit inside. So this is where I sit. So you can see that that's not that far, and I've got my unit here, and I have these drawers, and then I turn around and it's really, really close. This is a tight space, but you know what? I was able to get pretty much everything inside this space. So let's take a look at these drawers very, very quickly. This top drawer is another throwaway. We need those. Come on, let's face it. Sometimes we just have to put stuff away and we don't want to sort it out, and it just gets thrown in a pile. That's the drawer for me. In here I have all of my flip-flops. In here I have a lot of my acrylic blocks and roll adhesive. In here, more adhesive and rulers. In here, I have all of my sequences and just a few little trays. This is a lot of my tools that I have to craft, and mostly embossing stuff. There's been a bit of a mix because I've been crafting over the holidays. Again, here's where I keep a lot of my tools. This is where I keep my Happy Mail. And down here is a mismatch of things once again. So you can see that what's down here at the bottom, I don't access all that much, so that's why it ended up down here. In here I have acrylic paints, I have some envelopes that I store my dies in, and I have a stack of magnet sheets. This drawer here is designated to tags, Christmas tags, which I didn't get to do this year, and I was a little bit sad. I made some, but not as many. In here is a little bit of a mismatch, but these are all my offcuts. And I do come in here once in a while and find the perfect thing to do a card very quickly. So I do like to keep those. I try and keep it under control. And I have various little tools on the side. Again, more adhesive, so mainly this is dimensionals, and I'm still working my way through my close to my heart foam rollers. And here's where I keep my different types of inks, so my black and my white. So I have various types of inks in here. So in this drawer, I have my envelopes, my base cards, so I still have quite a bit to go through. And then in here, I actually repurposed my Workplace Wonder, and I just dropped in here various things, like little labels. I have some little jump rings, just various little things in here that kind of needed a home. I have my all-purpose mat, I have another ruler, and more scissors. In here I have my collection of punches. I still keep some, and honestly I don't know why, because I really rarely reach for them, but I've pared down to a drawer and that's it. I find that punches take up a lot of space, but I still want to keep these ones. In here I've kept my old crimper. I don't know if you still have this thing. I have used it a few times, and I still feel that it's useful. And I have my Cricut press at the bottom, and yes, it fits in the drawer. Let's take a quick pan here. So this is directly behind me, so this is right here. I have my storage, functional storage in the back, and that's all of my supplies. So let's get to the desk here, because I'm sure some of you are interested in seeing how I do my filming. So let's go through the desk together and I'll explain a few things. This is my table. So I have a large table in the middle of the room, and this is a sit-stand table. So if you're someone that likes to craft standing up, this table is pretty awesome for that. This was a gift, believe it or not, and I absolutely love it because I do like to move around when I craft. This is where I do all of my filming, and I do use these two mats to help me stay in frame. And this is my gear, and you're probably wondering, wow, that looks expensive. You know what? This entire gear right here, minus the lights, is $15 more than one Archon stand. Yes, you heard me right. So this main pole, when you purchase it, so there's three things to make this stand work. This main pole is to hold computer screens. It is nice, it's sturdy, and it doesn't move. So you get the pole and this piece right here. This is where I put my camera right at the top, and I try and level it as much as I can. I like that once I have it set up, it keeps its shape and I don't have to move it around too much. But this is one purchase. And this is another. So this one here was just, you can find these pretty much anywhere, but what I liked about this one is that it moves. So when you want to move your camera, it is just easy to move it around. And I think it was like $9 on Amazon. The thing that I did, because, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to see or appreciate that, I did not want to hang lights above on either side of myself. A lot of people use those big box lights, and I found them to be very claustrophobic. I don't know, it probably is just me. So I bought these, or I decided to use these LED lights. Now these LED lights do not come with the stand, but this here, these two arms, were an add-on for $30. And then I have these little poles, extender poles. A lot of this gear is computer related or filming related, but I was able to kind of MacGyver a system if you want. And these lights, what I like about them is I can position them down, and when I'm doing my filming, I have nice bright light on my surface. I always have extra lights on the side and this big one up here, but it is probably one of the hardest thing when you are doing process videos. If you're thinking of doing process videos in your crafty space, I would say the number one and number two things are lighting and sound. And if you can get one of those two down right, the quality of your videos is going to be more enjoyable for your viewers. And you know what? I'm still struggling with those things. And I've been making videos for a little while now. And lighting and sound is really, really important. So let's get back to my setup on my table. Let's get back to my desk and how I try to stay tidy when I do some crafting. So in here is my little container that I picked up at scrapbook.com. I leave a lot of my favorite tools in here. And then this one here is just a desk organizer. It was nice and small. I picked this up at, I still have the label, look at that, HomeSense. And I really do like that I can put my rulers and all of my favorite tools right here. Now I've got a lot of washi tape here because for whatever reason I'm always losing it. And this here is a little tip that I shared with the CDT creatives. It's just a little photo stand and I added a magnetic sheet on the front. And when I'm working on a project, I just drop my dies on here so that I don't lose them. So I do use this quite a bit. And then here you have another one of those desk organizers. I really like this one because I can add my Stampin' Up! Cases in here, and my most used dies are at the front. Again, this is just to stay tidy when I'm doing process videos and I don't clutter up my space. I try to keep everything to the side, so when I do a process video, you see the project here and all of the clutter is out of the way. Now let's talk about this little stand here. So this is a stand and this is a tip I picked up from my friend Chelsea. This is a cutting board stand. Do you see that? And what's really cool about it is that it's so nice and sturdy that you can put on here your 12 by 12 papers. So I do like that a lot. I usually keep the papers that I'm working with, and I always have my catalog nice and handy. This is a way for me to stay nice and tidy when I do my videos. Now let's go see what's going on back there. Before we talk about my corner right here, I wanted to point out this unit, and it is a great unit, but again, it's from IKEA and it's no longer available. It houses all of my older stamps, so in here I have all of my close to my heart stamps. And you know what? I love them. So I am going to keep them, and this unit that I have is perfect for that. Now you might have noticed that I do have a broom, and I have a broom and it's on a handle and the dustpan is on a handle, and that might be something silly to you, but you know what? Now that I have this in my room, when I'm done a project, I tidy up right away, and I like to keep this space nice and clean. Let's take a look at my filming editing nook. Now this used to be the closet. Let me see if I can step back. This here is the original shelf from the closet. The closet doors have been removed. I did go to a kitchen and cabinetry place, and I did get this L-shaped desk custom built. I did try things from IKEA and I did try to use standard pieces, but it really wasn't working. This is a very, very small space, and I needed to maximize everything I could. Now, right now I'm pinned against my desk that's in the middle of the room, so I'm going to try and film this for you. So this is the L-shaped desk. This was an additional shelf that was placed underneath. Again, that's the original shelf from the closet. And then let me show you the reason why I went custom. So you have an L. I wanted a space for my Cricut, and I wanted a space for my printer, which is a pretty large printer. Plus, I wanted a space to work on. So that was a lot of wants for this tiny little corner. Let me move my chair out of the way. So let's see if you can get a better visual here of what's underneath. Yes, I do have a little foot stand so that I can reach up here and get some things that I need. Short girl problem. And then here is the custom part that I really, really like. So this here is where I keep my printer, and it's on a pull out. So this works well, but I do have to move out of the way when I'm doing printing, especially if I'm printing from the back and I want to print some cardstock. So there are limitations, but I really like that I can tuck this away and I have a full surface to work on. And when we did that, I gained 2 drawers. So this is where I keep my paper. This is where I keep my photo paper, things like that. So we always can use more storage. This last drawer is where I keep all of my bags. A little mess of bags, but it works. And underneath here is where I keep my retired cardstock. So let me move some stuff out of the way for you. These are all my older, close to my heart colors that I still want to hold on to, but they're tucked away and they're separated from current colors that I'm working with. And if you want to see the entire process on how I did that, I will link that down below. On the top shelf here, I just have storage boxes and a few other things. So there's nothing much exciting happening down there. So the last view you'll see here is where I keep all of my printables, which I try not to print as much anymore. And I have my laptop underneath this drawer. I find that that works nicely. When I do my video editing, I do like a larger screen, so that's why you see that separate larger screen. And then if we pan over, I used to have a whole area dedicated to office supplies, and I purged down massively, and you know what? That's all I need. It's not taking up too much space, and I can still work on this surface. If we look underneath my desk here, and you know what? This is worth seeing. So let me just go around on the other side. So underneath my desk, I have a few things, and they are simple things, but they are very useful. So here I have an area where I keep my cloths, and this is just it was just stuck on. It's to hang headphones, those big headphone cans. So I have 2 cloths that I hang. I make sure that they're not too wet because they're right above some artwork here, and I'll explain that in a minute. And then I have a roll of paper right underneath. I know this is not glamorous, but I can tell you that this is very functional. Now here are all empty layouts, and I've been working through them slowly. I've done a lot of layouts where I don't have any photos, and I do have a process video that I can link for you where I took a pre-made layout and adapted it for my photos, so you can take a look at that. Let's take one last pan around the room, and you'll see that it's not that big. If you're interested in how I created this feature wall back here, I do have a process video that I can share with you. It took me a few tries to get that ombre look, but I really do like it. Those paper flowers were part of a class I shared with the CDT creatives. I really wanted to add these in my room, and I love the way that they turned out. Well, that's it for me today. I hope you've enjoyed this tour and I've inspired you to tidy up a little corner in your crafty space. I'll be making more videos here all year long. I want to thank you for your support, and as always, have yourself a fantastic day. Bye for now. This is a video collaboration with the creative design team where we are sharing our organizational tips all week long. I have a few videos here I think you might just like. See you there.